Hello everyone, I just wanted to do a quick video to thank some of the commenters on my previous video for the insightful and fun conversations I've had with them. It was actually a bit surprising to me because I've been on the internet for nearly 30 years now, and I've talked with many internet atheists through the years, so I have some expectations of what the typical responses to my arguments are going to be. Which is another way of saying I expected the trolls to come out of the woodwork.
And you didn't disappoint.
But troll comments are pointless and irrelevant. They're a waste of time. They don't advance knowledge at all, so there's no point in spending much time on them. And thankfully, the troll comments weren't only not all that common, I know, give it time, but they also weren't the first comments either. I don't know whether or not the people who I have engaged with so far are atheists, agnostic, or for that matter, Pastafarians or whatever. But I do know is that at least a couple of them actually presented arguments. It doesn't matter whether anyone found them compelling or not. Existence is almost always better than non-existence in nearly any sphere you can think of. So the mere fact that these arguments existed is already better to begin with. Now, I know that kind of sounds like a backhanded compliment here, saying, well, your responses were an improvement on troll comments. No, that's not what I mean. These responses were actually very well thought out. They made great points, and they are actually helping me to better formulate my own arguments so I can present it better in the future. I don't mean the immediate future because, I take this stuff in, I think about it, I process it, and, maybe in a year or two I might do a follow-up update. I don't know. It just depends. Also, I should probably point out that I'm not limiting the existence of troll comments to just those who disagree with my position on anything. I mentioned atheists and agnostics here simply because that's the audience that is most likely to respond with the troll comments to my previous video. But theists are just as capable of being trolls on their own. To be fair, I have done it myself in the past. But trolling rarely ever helps anybody on anything. I would say the only time that I think trolling is going to be any level of useful is when you're actually counter-trolling a troll. So other than that, if somebody is presenting something genuine and they're giving a real thought process over a topic, and all they get is a troll response, that's not going to help anybody. If somebody's literally thinking over something, at least extend the common courtesy to think back with them. Just accusing them of something or formulating labels about their views, that's not helpful. But I don't want to just condemn trolls in general here. I want to actually emphasize how much I appreciated those who took the time to actually present arguments and aspects that they disagreed with on my argument in a way that was useful. It wasn't trolling. It's a way that actually does help promote thinking and clarity. So specifically, I wanted to thank Jim Inverness and Robin Dude, which is a cool handle, by the way, for their conversations that I've had in the comments. I'm positive we still disagree, okay? But you've helped me to think better over the entirety of this concept. And I hope that I have helped you think a little bit better about it as well. It doesn't matter at that point whether we actually agree on anything or not. I'm hoping that you still at least got some benefit from the interaction. So I know I got benefit to hearing a strong response. I don't want my views to be able to just thwart troll comments. I want it to actually be able to withstand the best argument that can be put against it. Because if it can't survive that, there's no reason I should hold on to that argument. Whatever the best argument is should be the one that wins. That's how I view it. I'm hoping that even if you still disagree with me on the subject, that you may still think, well, this is a better argument than the vast majority of arguments that theists present. I have to actually think about what this means and deal with it, and that might help you upgrade your own argument as well. In my opinion, truth will always win in the end. So I have no fear of me strengthening the quote-unquote enemy. And I use that language even though I don't like it, because I don't view people who disagree as enemies. But that's kind of how we set up the logic. or sorry, we set up the language of how we interact with people. That's a whole nother topic, but I don't view you as the enemy. I view you as a rational human being trying to make the best with the information you have. I'm doing the same thing on my end, trying to make the best with the information I have. And if both of us present the strongest possible arguments for our side, and we can compare the two, then a reasonable person can actually make an informed decision based on that. So, again, I wanted to thank both Jim Inverness, I'm hoping I'm pronouncing your name correctly, and Robin Dude for being that way and being respectful in how they actually are interacting. And again, respect has nothing to do with whether you agree or not, because both of you guys disagreed with me on points. And I still find that respectful because you didn't just engage in name calling. You didn't just label something and then attack the label. You actually brought up fair points that were worth discussing. One other thing I need to point out as I'm ending this video here is that the way that YouTube has set up their comment system is horrific. So I might not see all the responses to my video. YouTube actually deletes some of the responses. YouTube has deleted some of my own responses on my own videos. And there seems to be no reason for it. There's no logic to YouTube, I can say that. So if we want to talk about the irrational, YouTube rules and regulations, those are the epitome of irrational. But it's very possible that if you wrote something that's very intellectual and I never saw it, it's possible that YouTube just never showed it to me. So I apologize if you have been bringing these awesome arguments that I just haven't seen. But until we can all band together to convince YouTube to actually go back to the original Google model of don't be evil, there's not much we can do about that limitation here. So with all that, I still do hope that you all have a wonderful day and take care.